The UNC Pembroke track and field team competed at the Florida Division II Challenge in Daytona last weekend, winning 9 event titles. We'll talk to head coach Dr. Peter Ormsby in just a moment. UNCP softball dropped a pair of Peach Belt Conference doubleheaders to Armstrong State and Flagler over the weekend. The Braves are back at home today with a PBC doubleheader against rival Francis Marion at 1 p.m. On the baseball diamond, the Black and Gold took 2 out of 3 from PBC leader and #1 nationally ranked North Georgia. The Braves are on the road at Georgia Southwestern this weekend. We'll check in with head coach Paul O'Neill in a little bit. And UNCP Golf hosted the Sunoco Campbell Oil Classic at the River Landing Golf Club this week. Full results of the 9-team event can be found on uncpbraves.com. The Black and Gold Report starts now. Welcome to another episode of the Black and Gold Report presented by Pepsi, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Cameron Songer. Today we talk UNCP track and field as well as check in with UNCP baseball coach Paul O'Neill. But first, it's my pleasure to be joined in studio by track and field coach Dr. Peter Ormsby. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me on again.
Your team competed last Saturday in Florida at the Division II Challenge in Daytona. In general, how do you feel your team performed?
We went down and think it was a business trip. Obviously, it's nice to get out of Carolina weather every now and then, but it was good to get out. It was 75, 80 degrees, perfect conditions for the sprinters and jumpers. A little breezy, which is what we wanted in some instances, but we did get a lot of good marks. The women were provisional qualifiers on the 4x1, 9/10 or something off the school record, and Mike Powell was 1/100th or 2/100ths off a provisional mark in the 400 hurdle. So we got a lot of good marks, a lot of good looks. We were able to see some of the conference schools down there. So when you can go down, have some fun, and come away with a solid meet like that, it's always worth the money.
Turning to individual performances now, you're returning All-American from last year, Corey Jones. He did well on Saturday, but how has he done this season in the outdoor portion?
Well, I had to talk to Coach Ackroth a little bit before we came on, but he hasn't jumped long jump since February 19th. So he hasn't jumped since the last meet indoors. So for him to come out, jump 7.6, put a couple naysayers and put them in their place. But it was a 4.2 wind. So right now, I think that would put him probably like 10th or 9th in the country, but it's wind aided, so it's not, doesn't qualify for that. But it's a good rust buster for him, and obviously he'll be traveling the next couple weekends trying to improve on that, get a wind aided or a non-wind aided mark so we can get on that national list. In the first Southeast Regional poll, the men's team was ranked first. How does that pressure of high expectations maybe change your approach? It really doesn't change anything. It's just it's what we came off of from the Braves Classic and obviously Mount Olive, after spring break. A lot of teams in the region were coming off of a national championship, so they may not have raced the full squad, the full strength. So that poll is going to change weekly. I think it comes out like on Tuesday afternoons or Wednesday. So it's going to go up, it's going to go down, but ultimately we're looking more towards Peach Belt and obviously nationals in May. On the women's side, the women's team ranked #4 in that same poll. Who have been some of the most impressive performers from that side? I think it's the whole team. I think the throwers, we've got a thrower at least ranked in the top 5 for each of the 4 events. I think the women's 4x1 is up there with that, and that's the first time they ran as that team, and they're 9/10 or 900ths off the school record. We've got a couple 400-meter girls in Bree Taylor and Angelica McNair who are running really well in the 4 right now. And then Jada Wallace and a freshman, Kayla Francis, opens up at like a 12:05. So they're coming together really quickly, and we've got a lot of running to do, but both the guys and the girls are doing some good things early on. After the first outdoor meet of the season, a pair of freshmen in Silas Kipcoach and LaShonda Tate earned Peach Belt Conference weekly honors. Obviously, those two have made the adjustment, but how do you feel your freshmen have adapted to competing at the college level? I think this weekend when we went down to Florida, the D2 Challenge, I think we saw a lot of freshmen step up. And we're always trying to recruit better freshmen to kind of challenge the returners. And when you get freshmen to step in, make the conference marks and challenge the returners for those spots at the conference championship, we're doing the right thing, both recruiting, and they're doing the right thing by challenging everybody else and really stepping up to the plate, which is what we want.
We need to take our first time out, but we'll be back with more UNCP track and field after this.
36 All-American honors, 41 academic All-Americans, and 3 national champions. In the last 5 years, UNC Pembroke has established itself as the premier Division II athletics program in southeastern North Carolina. UNCP offers student athletes a championship experience unlike any other, both in the classroom and in the competitive arena. Brave Nation is more than just a hashtag, it's an identity. Visit uncpbraves.com where your championship experience awaits.
Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Cameron Songer, joined once again by UNCP track and field coach Dr. Peter Ormsby. Coach, your team is in the middle of competition season with a meet just about every weekend. How does that change your approach maybe during the week in terms of training?
Everybody's different. So yes, there's a meet or 2 meets on the schedule each weekend, but everybody's individualized with what they're racing. Very rarely will you have an athlete compete every weekend. The sprinters, jumpers like to compete every weekend because it kind of gets them in that flow and everything. The throwers like to compete every weekend. But the distance athletes, really can't do a 5K or a 10K every week. So really we have to pick and choose when and where they race. So then sometimes we may train through a meet just to kind of get a little workout in. So it just depends on the athlete, depends on what we're doing, and depends on what kind of season.
This weekend, the team is splitting up, with some going to the Colonial Relays in Williamsburg, Virginia, and others going to the Vert class meeting at High Point University. How does that all work logistically?
It's nice to have a staff that's willing to kind of split up the group a little bit. I get I did go to William & Mary, so that's fun. This will be the second time up there for us. We came last year back with a lot of PRs and a lot of good marks. The High Point meet allows for prelims finals, so it's a great sprint jump type meet to where we can get kids in, get them to do prelims finals, so they get a couple extra times to race to kind of simulate that conference schedule that'll do prelims finals just like we're doing. But it's where we're going to get the best competition for each event group. So the weather up in Williamsburg will be a little more conducive to some fast times late at night for the 10Ks and the 5Ks Thursday and Friday night, and then Friday, Saturday. Everybody's entered basically. It's whether they get in. There's a couple events that are going to be based on numbers, but we should have everybody, and we're still waiting on a couple people to get a couple marks for PBCs. So, and with the bulk of the group being from the central North Carolina area, it does allow for a lot of parents and fans and spectators to come out and see the Braves.
We're getting closer to the end of April and the Peach Belt Conference Championship meet. How do you feel your team stacks up right now?
If I use the social media quote, it'd be like we're trending in the right direction. So it's always nice to see great performances after after having spring break and not really doing too much. So as long as everybody keeps believing and doing what they're supposed to, we're very confident in being able to achieve that ultimate goal. And I think we got 5 weeks. So there's a lot of racing left to do, not only with us, but a lot of schools in the conference. So we're constantly checking the performance list, constantly checking the rankings just to kind of see, are we moving up, are we moving down, are we going the right direction? Because as we know, we're only as good as our last race, and when we get to PBCs, it's how well we do on that particular day.
Now, track and field is sort of unique. Most other sports at UNCP end with the Peach Belt Conference. After Peach Belt, there's still plenty of time between that and the end of the schedule.
Yeah, we're looking at a month to 6 weeks between PBCs and ultimately a trip to Bradenton for nationals. So the group definitely gets smaller. We'll probably take about 55, maybe 60 kids to conference for those that qualify, but then we're probably looking at keeping around like 12 to 15, maybe 20, and looking at going to a Wingate last chance. Florida State is the same week. So it's really those kids that are on the bubble that are really going to make that impact, like a Corey Jones, probably the women's 4x1. So it's a lot of what ifs, but it's nice that we do have that time period that we can squeeze in a couple extra meets to get some people qualified for nationals.
As the season starts to wind down a little bit, you can maybe turn your attention a little bit more to recruiting. What's your message to high school track athletes who might be looking at UNC Pembroke?
Definitely get the contacts out early. If you're a junior, contact us now. We've already had a lot of contacts from juniors. Seniors, I know seniors are always waiting to pop that last good one to see where the money, if there is a money. But yeah, it's just getting in contact, putting us on their radar, or, but yeah, it's just getting in contact with us, and so we can reach out to them.
UNCP track and field coach Dr. Peter Ormsby, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Stay tuned to the Black and Gold Report. We'll be right back with baseball head coach Paul O'Neill.